Muncie, a small town of 70,000 in central eastern Indiana. I wanted to get away from the horse race and the polling punditry and came to Muncie for two reasons. The first, Delaware County, in which Muncie resides, voted both for Bernie Sanders and for Donald Trump. Secondly, in the 20s, Muncie was the focus of an iconic sociological study called Middletown, which portrayed Muncie as the archetypal all-American city.
Growing up, I wanted the hell out of the Midwest, let alone Muncie. For me, it's a home base. I become engaged in the community, but can't imagine living anywhere else. Gary's going to share a little bit more about what he's doing here, and I actually think he's going to have some questions.
How many of you know that your parents or think your parents are going to vote for Hillary? And how many of you know or think that your parents are going to vote for Donald Trump? How many of you would say Muncie feels like or seems like a nice place to grow up in?
Well, most people don't know, but there's a bridge on Madison Street, and the town's pretty much divided from that bridge, and that neighborhood has a lot of African Americans that live over there.
These railroad tracks define the borders of Muncie's social geography, which basically hasn't changed since 1924, when the Lynns were here to ride Middletown. To the north and west is the wealthy and white area of town. To the south, the white working class area. To the southeast, the African American part. Since I've been here, I've become embedded in the town. Some people have told me here that the situation is dire. They don't want incremental change. They need major shifts in how America works or doesn't work for them. So can I have a Cubano panini?
Sure.
Please? And then the carrot and ginger soup.
In the last 20 years, it's been in a recovery mode.
And your fourth generation, Muncie?
Yeah, fifth in one line, but yeah. My dad's generation, when they were growing up, you knew that you could get a good job at a factory, make good money, you know. I think my generation knew that there was no way we were gonna get that high-paying factory job where you would have, you know, nice house, 2 cars, kids go to college.
They used to call Muncie Little Chicago. It had big manufacturing plants, strong unions, and if you were able-bodied and willing, there was work here for you. But then things changed. The jobs went abroad or to the south, where unions were weaker and labour was cheaper. Now, Muncie is struggling. Some people are saying that the voters are angry, and it's not difficult to see why. This is the Borg-Warner plant that used to make car transmissions. Now it's closed. One of the things that's making people angry here is foreign trade.
In Muncie proper, there's a lot of anger and I think a lot of despair.
If you picture any town that used to have a lot of industry and it all left at the same time, that's what Muncie is.
Both Kathy and Silas voted for Bernie Sanders in the primaries, but now they're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, even though they don't feel great about it.
I'll vote for Hillary, but Bernie tapped into a discontent that so many working people feel.
Try to talk to the precinct workers and find out voter attitude, whether there have been any problems.
We take care of the marking down in the primary, especially where they are a Democrat or a Republican.
Coming to understand the history, certainly around race and racism, but also understanding industry and how that's severely impacted the community. People tend to just take care of themselves.
How would you describe this election?
I will try not to use profanity.
You can use profanity. It's been done already.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we have the 2 most unpopular candidates in the history of, since they've been keeping track of that kind of stuff.
You're choosing the lesser of 2 bad choices, and obviously the choice that we have with Hillary Clinton is much less of a negative choice than Donald Trump, so that makes that choice easy.
Muncie is not typical of America. No town is. But the loss of manufacturing jobs here does make the central question being asked similar to that posed elsewhere in the country. What hope is there for the people neoliberal globalization has left behind?
It's very hard to try to tell people whose vision of America or of Indiana is that all the good days were in the past, that they have to think a new way to move forward into the way the world is going to work in the future. That's an incredibly complicated thing to try to communicate to somebody who never went to college.
No matter what, after the election, we've got to figure out how we reconcile these groups of people.
I've yet to meet anyone who thinks this presidential election will provide an answer. People feel let down by their politicians. They want more. They deserve better.